People have limiting beliefs that they don't know are beliefs, and they don't even know that they're limited by it. It just seems like that's just the way it is. So these world of superstitions, as we'll call them in the forum, are these automatic ways in which we live life that we don't know we live life that way. See, when you know you're superstitious, like you're not afraid of black cats, it's got no impact on you because you're clear to superstition. And it's not real for you. However, there are these other ways of being and acting, or these other beliefs we've got, that like a black cat, we know it's a black cat. But we got these limiting beliefs that we don't know are limiting beliefs because it's just the way that it is. And you can only see life through that way. And when you're inside of a superstition that you don't know is a superstition, all of your ways of being and acting are perfectly correlated to the reality given by that superstition. So what makes complete sense to you doesn't make sense for anyone else. What makes complete sense for them doesn't make sense for you. Like, why are they doing that? It doesn't make sense. In their world of the superstition, it makes complete sense.
We kind of laugh about the absurdity that anybody would get, that they got these superstitions like, if the black cat crosses your path, you're going to have bad luck, etc. Like, we think those kind of things are absurd. But at the same time, you and I are living in these superstitions and belief systems about ourselves and about our life that are every bit for us as terrifying as if we would get bad luck for however many years because a black cat crossed our paths.
They'll say things like, I can't change this part of me. They'll say I'm a procrastinator and I don't know what's wrong with me, but no matter what I do, I can't get to the gym. Or people say things like, I don't know, I just spend and I change 5 different jobs and somehow I can't make any more money, and money's just really hard. I'm a hard worker. We say things about ourselves. I'm stupid. I'm not very good. For me, I'm not very good at technology. And it's just real for me that I'm not good at technology, never will be, need help. Every time we change something and we learn something new around technology, I freak out because I'm just terrible at technology.
They're superstitions, but they're not really superstitions because you're aware that they're superstitions. So if I said, fire, you would run right under that ladder. You'd step on all those cracks and break your mother's backs because you're clear it's a superstition. You know what I'm saying? It's the superstitions you're unaware of that totally run your life.
When I say something like my mother or my wife is a certain way, I turn them into something solid like a phone or a table or whatever the case may be. But if I get that my wife isn't this way, like she isn't this way, like solid, then I have an opportunity to see my wife in 100 different ways that's going to empower our marriage. Or my mother, when she was alive, saw it as this, wow, my mother's in the world. My mother isn't stubborn. That's just the way she's seen. She isn't stubborn all the time. So I begin to unravel what I got stuck with. That's be it about race, culture, religion, finances, well-being. All of these areas, these limiting beliefs, limits what's possible when we're stuck inside of it. And you're right, outside of it, there's this whole world to create life as it is, not from what I got stuck with.
There's that guy at work that just, you get in there and every day it's a little bit rubbing on you that he is this way. Or there you are with your in-laws and your mother-in-law is always critiquing you about the way you're doing the dishes, etc. You and I have these people that are challenging. And what we discover in the forum is the superstitions that you and I live in about these people are the limitation, not them themselves.
There are things in our life that for us, they just are that way. If you look, like my mom really is a jerk, or my dad really is someone who gets upset at me all the time. And we say these things like they're real, like that is absolute and that's the truth and that's the way people are. We even have superstitions around our money. Like money is hard and I can't earn so much because I'm an artist and artists don't get paid very well. We talk about our health, right? Like I've got a neck ache and it seems to be chronic and no one can deal with it. And you and I go around talking about all these things like it just is that way and we can't do anything about it. And we never examine that maybe that's not the truth. Maybe that's just a superstition that we bought into.
So it's so much easier to see, I'll say, the unreality or the superstitions that other people live in. Like when people say, oh, I'm shy, or oh, I'm an introvert. What? And you're like, well, just stop doing that. Stop being that way. It's so much easier to see it when other people say, oh, I'm lazy. Well, stop being lazy. It's like when people say, oh, I want to be more confident. Well, then just be confident. But people don't have any access to stepping outside of that. And it's always easier to see it in others, but you don't realize it. You're doing it yourself. So other people can see it in you, but you can't see it in yourself. It's kind of like what we call a blind spot. It's not kind of like, it is a blind spot that you can't see, and you can't see that you can't see that you live in these superstitions about yourself, life, and others that can actually constrain what's possible.
And inside of superstitions, mostly we interact with our reaction about something, and we don't see it for what it is. We just had an election, and you got people on various sides of the result, opinions about the result, opinions about how the result got handled. So all of that's inside of a world of superstitions, which is all opinions, judgments, assessments, evaluations. However, we don't know it's opinions, assessments, judgments, evaluations. It's as solid as the chair that I'm sitting in for people. And because it's so solid, people get stuck in fighting for a position. Distinct from noticing the position and talking to each other. We're talking from a world that's already there. That's so the truth for us. And and on the real, when you start talking about things that are so critical, like the elections and points of views, man, I mean, it's so hard to see inside of the world when you're in it. And the only possibility, and I really think the form makes a difference, whether it's the elections of my mother or my father or about me or relationships, is when you have the opportunity to distinguish, set apart, step outside of those views that we're stuck with that are like the truth, then maybe something else can become available that we haven't seen because we're so stuck inside of a world.
When I did my landmark forum, I had just come out of my time in the Air Force. I had packed on about 85 pounds. And I was a personal trainer. So I knew everything there was to do about losing weight, keeping healthy. I was, just incredibly, I was a national champion in gymnastics, so in very good shape my whole life. And when I packed on this weight, I walked into my landmark forum and it just wasn't even a question. It was the truth that I'm ugly, that I'm fat, that nobody's gonna want me because of this weight and because I look the way that I do. And I had the opportunity in the landmark forum to actually challenge that whole belief about myself. I didn't even see it as a belief. It was just the way it is. And when I saw that as a superstition that I've been living from, I got an enormous amount of freedom for myself. Within a week after my landmark forum, I ended up meeting someone that I fell in love with, like immediately, and he wanted me. And I was the same weight I was when I did my landmark forum, and I looked the same, but my context, the way I was related to myself was free of that constraint that I wouldn't be wanted. I discovered for myself that was never the truth to begin with. It's just the superstition I've been living in about me.
Let's take a look at this, okay? Inside of a superstition that for you is just reality, like, for example, I'm not good at this. I think we all have I'm not good at this. Maybe I'm not good at sports. I'm not good at money. I'm not a good musician. For me, I'm not artistic, right? And it just really is that way. The impact is that you function in that reality like it's the truth. So many of you won't try on new things. Oh no, I'm not going to try that on because I'm just not good at it. Some of you won't take job opportunities. You won't even exploit new opportunities. You're stuck in this limitation of, I'm just not good at this. So you don't even try.
You live like life is hard. There's no hard in life. Show me hard. But then people's ways of being and acting are perfectly correlated to the superstition that for them is not a superstition. Work is tiring. It's unreal. But people live in this language of superstition that completely disempowers them. And then they live like that's the truth. And then their actions are correlated to the superstition. Then the results are correlated to that action. And that is completely not real. There is no tired in a job. But people say things like that all the time that they're completely unaware of. And they say that about people too. My mom is crazy. My mom is mean. My husband is unreliable. And then they live like that's the truth. Or even they have superstitions about the self. I'm an athlete, or I'm, lazy, or whatever it is that they have lived about themselves that's a superstition that they don't know is a superstition, that they have ways of being and acting perfectly correlated to that superstition. And then they get the results of living in that completely unreality.
You can't let go of something that you don't know is there, because it's so the truth for you. Like when I say I am angry, if I cut me open, I wouldn't find angry in there. And if you start to get that, unless people can actually know that it's there, they can never interrupt it. They can never see, oh, there's another possibility, there's another option, because we're so limited in our view about how things are. See, superstitions allows me to distinguish, make available my point of view, distinct from it's the truth.
It's interesting when the circumstances in life even are favorable, you and I still wake up in the morning kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And we already are worried, anxious about what we consider could happen in life. And it's automatically there for us. Ever since we were very young, there was some experience that life's not what I thought it was. We go from being this kind of innocent, in life, in wonder, little being, to something happens. We have this experience, something's wrong here. And once we've had that experience, it's blindsiding for us. Like, life's not what I thought it was. Probably between the ages of 3 and 9. Now, the rest of life is now lived from that context of something's wrong here. So even if your circumstances, the content of life is favorable, is good, in the background of life, we still experience there's something wrong. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with life. There's something that's going to happen that I already know is going to happen. And that ends up shaping and coloring our experience of life.
There's not much joy saying I'm a loser, and there's not much happiness saying, I'm not very good at this. And my question is, where's your experience of being whole and complete? So a lot of you are looking to fix and change yourself, and you go around, there's something wrong with me. And every time you try to fix and change yourself, you collect more evidence and you make that reality more real about you. Well, where's the joy? Where's the wholeness? Where's the happiness and satisfaction in you being a loser or being, limited in any way?
Once they have access, and we give them access to the world of superstitions, not just the specific superstitions, when they have access to that world of superstitions, they'll start seeing them everywhere, which will give them access to stepping outside those superstitions for what's possible, and breakthrough results become available.